As mentioned, something of a goalkeeper shortage for Bayern just at the moment, with Manny Neuer and Sven Ulreich still working their way back to fitness. There are two changes by Carlo Ancelotti to the side that started against Arsenal. Christian Früchtl, the teenager who played in goal in the second half, starts here, and James Rodriguez, newly arrived from Real Madrid, makes way for Kingsley Coman. Open question as to whether Martinez will play in midfield, or as they did in the first game, whether it was Martinez alongside Hummels with David Alaba in midfield. Talk about an embarrassment of riches. Here's the Milan lineup then. Matteo De Sciglio has departed for Juventus, and as I mentioned, the man coming the other way, Leonardo Bonucci, only on the bench to start, but Musacchio and Ricardo Rodriguez, just two of the big money buys, do start. Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who is a part of this touring party, makes way, at least starting off the second game. And other arrivals still to follow, aplenty. Andre Silva, Lucas Biglia, Andrea Conti. The list is long and may not even now be over. Montolivo did not feature in the opener against Borussia Dortmund for Milan. Aykun takes charge. Been one or two fairly competitive physical encounters in this so-called pre-season friendly roster of games so far. One player we'll not see on this tour for Bayern Munich is Serge Gnabry, who prospered in the Bundesliga, latterly at Werder Bremen, since Arsene Wenger let him move on from Arsenal. He's newly been signed by Bayern, but he's been sent out on loan to Hoffenheim, who will play in a Champions League playoff in August. They finished fourth in the Bundesliga behind Bayern last season. Donnarumma with that massive new contract, the 18-year-old, and also his big brother Antonio there for company now. Frank Cassie did pretty well in the opener for Milan. He wants to be part of their future, and this young man Früchtl getting an unexpected taste of it all at first team level. And underway here. Delighted to have Keith Andrews alongside. Keith.
And Paul, really looking forward to this too. I've already alluded to two of the greats of European football. I think in terms of where they are in pre-season, we'll see two very different sides. Just the two changes, a very settled side, really focused on the start of the game. Milan, clearly a little bit more work to do.
Not the surest of touches by Alaba, who, as forecast, has started in the back four. So that's a little change today by Ancelotti to have a look at that. That's not the way to start, is it?
He's a very versatile player, isn't he? Probably suffers at times because he never really gets a run in a set position.
So can Milan profit early on here? Früchtl had to claim it. Wasn't a very powerful downward header by Musacchio. I mentioned the backup on this tour being Tom Starker. We saw him come in, actually, Keith, with no Manny Neuer or Sven Ulreich here. The goalkeeping contingent for Bayern a bit stretched. So, actually, Ancelotti and his new assistant, Sanyol, had to go to Starker. They bid him farewell at the end of last season, after 4 or 5 years there as one of the backup goalkeepers. They called him 3 weeks later and said, look, are you free and could you come on the pre-season tour?
Well, this is what can make or break players' careers. You know, there's opportunities. We keep saying about young players and players like this that maybe foreseeing their future's been in pastures new, but magnificent opportunity to be able to play against opposition of this level.
3 seasons in a row, finishing 4th at Fiorentina, Montella. And of course he holds his opposite number in such esteem. Ancelotti's like dare I say, the godfather among the managers in Italy at the moment. They all look up to him so much. Confirmation of the substitutes available to Bayern, bottom of screen. Young Pantovic came on second half against Arsenal. Borini's won a free kick. Bayern in this retro new kit, Keith. What do you think of it for next season?
I'm still undecided. I really like the home kit. We get a lot of these retro third kits in this day and age, and purely comes down to the finance available, trying to get those kids to get that extra shirt. They've started quite well. It's been a good tempo to the over a few minutes, and it's been a reoccurring theme of pre-season games in recent seasons. I think it's important that managers do utilise the squads. They do use these games as a training practice to get those high intensity minutes right up there.
Here's Kingsley Coman. Went to the byline. Donnarumma got, I think, the fingernail to that. Abate one less to contend with in his position now, with Deschilio moving on to Juventus. Very highly thought of young fullback. And the pantomime at last over surrounding this young man, who has been a first team player since the age of 16, the successor elect for Italy to the great Buffon. But his head was spinning for a while, wasn't it? He's got to focus now, Keith, hasn't he?
Yeah, very much so, and I think it's nice, certainly with the way AC Milan are doing their business. They are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Whether that's going to be this season or not, only time will tell, but very key to get him back on board and focus for this season.
Alaba in that same corner, repelling the thrust by Niang and Kessie. Players like Niang have really got to show their mettle early in this campaign, in these pre-season games, really, I think, with so many big names coming in. Rodriguez, one of them, turn it onto his right boot. Früchtel got there. Well, they've started with a lot more purpose, it must be said, Milan, than they did against Dortmund.
I think it's important, it really is. We've already mentioned that. They are a couple of weeks, probably 2 to 3 weeks behind this Munich side in terms of their preparation and where they're looking to go at the start of the season, their respective leagues. But it's important that you do start to try and build that familiarity, those cohesions, those partnerships within the side.
Coman again. New contract for him, of course. Lewandowski, twisted and turned. Kessie, and order restored by Montolivio. Corentin Tolisso, the other big arrival for Bayern. And Ribery, who has looked super sharp so far in pre-season. Layoff by Bonaventura. Rodriguez, Borini. Getting an unexpected chance, Borini, at this level, perhaps. Says he's enjoying life. Why wouldn't he be at Milan? Said he's had a very warm welcome from the other players. Of course, Montolivio is the senior man in the dressing room now.
He's been a consistent performer for many years, hasn't he? On the Italian side as well. Very, very reliable, stalwart.
Got that terrible injury against your Republic of Ireland. I know you weren't playing in the game, Keith, and entirely accidental injury, but broke his leg very badly a couple of years ago. Früchtel read that very well. Kessie again from midfield. Ribery. It's a good win back by Niang. Swapping roles with Kessie, actually. That's quite interesting. And all a bit more front foot from Montella for Milan in this game early on. Crotone forcing the issue then.
Milan have been impressive, you're right, that little tweak, and certainly the style of how they've gone about it. They haven't really let this Munich side dictate proceedings at their pace, which they like to do. Just overran it on this occasion.
He's a 19-year-old Patrick Crotone, given a chance here by Montella. Montella, of course, a former centre-forward himself. Ribery, skipped away from Bonaventura. Kingsley Coman, looking for Lewandowski, back post. Very well covered by Zapata.
Oh, it's a Bayern play. Frank Ribery coming inside. Beautiful feet, and he finds Coman. A sublime pass. Lewandowski shaking his head. I think he realised he could have made a little bit more run. But Abate does well just to hold him off.
In fact, they probably both got a piece of it, didn't they? You can't get 2 corners for that. But he would approve. And we all know he is going to be the main man back there, that's for sure. Ribery takes the corner. Just the wrong side of the upright. Lewandowski attacking it.
Fantastic delivery. Zapata's asking who's picking him up, because how someone like Robert Lewandowski is able to get that time and space for his standards. Probably should have done a little bit better.
Gathered in by Crotone, bit short. Bonaventura had to go for it. Lewandowski from a long way out. Model pro though he is, Keith, there were plenty of stories that he went into a proper sulk when he realised Aubameyang was going to outscore him last season in Germany.
But that just shows the ruthless nature that strikers have to have. You know, it's that type of industry. Position is very different to any other position on the pitch, and he has a staggering goal-scoring record in the Bundesliga. He really has.
Grumpy for scoring 30 again in the league. Montolivo looking long. Mats Hummels. Hummels had the summer off, of course, along with Jerome Boateng, who's not featuring at the moment for Bayern. And the new centre-back, Nico Süle, who's arrived at Bayern from Hoffenheim, was with Germany at the Confederations Cup, and that's why he has been given an extra couple of weeks off, along with Joshua Kimmich. Sebastian Rudy, who's also moved to Bayern from Hoffenheim, midfield player, did well for Germany. He too still on holiday. Arturo Vidal, who was there with Chile. And I mentioned Serge Gnabry, who of course has gone on loan to Hoffenheim, but he wouldn't have been here anyway, we understand, although he has signed for Bayern because he was one of the stars of the Germany under-21 team. Muller, another not required by Jogi Löw in the summer. Picked out Ribery. Kessie stuck to his guns, and again Nian working with him. Kessie. Crotone. Kessie goes again. 10 minutes where Milan have dominated, really. Montolivo on the switch. Barini. Rodriguez goes outside him. Bonaventura forced back by Martinez. Musacchio. Zapata. Donnarumma. Firm header from Hummels. And steered back with the head by Montolivo. Big brother Antonio Donnarumma has arrived at Milan from Asteras Tripoli. He doesn't look entirely at his sharpest here, Keith, early on, does he, Gianluigi Donnarumma?
No, you have to say that he's been a little bit, certainly ball at his feet, a little bit tentative, not trained anywhere near to the levels that he would have liked. Very, very early days, and as we've already mentioned, hopefully that contract situation can fully focus now on next season.
€88 million buyout clause in the new contract for a goalkeeper.
Well, that just shows the transfer fees over the last year to two have really, they've gone astronomical.
Somewhere in there, Chinese finance a part of it. Here's Ribery. think it's hugely important, given the takeover at Milan, that they do well and acquit themselves well, present themselves well off the field on this tour. It's a big moment in the history of their club in that way, isn't it?
I think it's absolutely huge. They haven't won the Serie A since 2011. They have been a club that's been in decline. Fans have been very, very restless. And with this new takeover, they need to get back on the world stage. I think it's tours like this that do give them the opportunity to grow the club off the field, but inevitably it's all about results. They need to try and build that gap between them and Juve this season.
Musacchio won it in the air, did well. Great roars of Milan from their new Chinese support base here. But as Keith points out, only 63 Serie A points on the board last season. That was a 6th place finish. Lazio above them in 5th got 70, and Juventus way out of sight and over the hill with 91. That's a big gap.
It's huge, and how much of that they can make up this season, you would imagine quite a bit. Whether they can actually challenge Juve is going to be very interesting to see. How quickly, the amount of signings that they've made, how can they combine those relationships, the style of play. Montella wants to get the team playing, but certainly from the opening 13 minutes here, very encouraging.
Rodriguez weighing up his options. Rodriguez goes again, nice build-up. And Milan deservedly go in front. Frank Kessie again following in from midfield. And wow, that really lifts everybody here, and all these new supporters of Milan. They like what they're seeing in this game.
It's a really well-worked goal. Kessie, as you've already mentioned, he's been pivotal the opening stages of this game, really taking the game to this Munich team, full of energy, full of industry. And on this occasion, he produces that little bit of quality. Rodriguez give a little give and go. Niang, sloppy little ball bouncing. Rodriguez just puts it into a good area. Alaba flicks off him. Kessie's arriving. He has that composure. Slot it. Rafinha can do absolutely nothing about it.
Juan Bernat was the last man on the line, and I think it almost goes under his foot here, doesn't it, as he stretches. But perhaps a deserved lead.
I think they've been the better side. We've seen a couple of glimpses from Munich, Lewandowski, a couple of opportunities, maybe looking that little bit not quite at it. But Milan certainly have been the better side.
Coming off a great season, Kessie, last season. And making a good impression here. He was on loan at Atalanta. They outperformed Atalanta around all those big clubs, much bigger clubs in Italy. And he was pivotal. He also got 6 goals in the league from midfield. The Côte d'Ivoire player. Looks like he could make an impact. Ribéry. He hasn't made the impact early on in this game that he did against Arsenal, that's for sure. There's an element to pre-season, Keith, when you have to back up games 2 or 3 days later, because some of these Bayern players, that's a bit over-ambitious from Bonaventura, to say the least. But the previous question, when you have to put 2 or 3 games together in a week, that makes a difference, does it not?
Very much so. We said it right at the top. There's only 2 changes from during the week, and these players, although they are ahead of the Milan side, Milan have drastically changed their side. It takes its toll. They would have done very little training in between, and the way it works is that if you don't play the next game, you might train a little bit more in between. Basically, it's all about the end game of getting ready, ideally a week before the season starts, to be able to play 90 minutes at full pace.
In Bayern's case, not long to go before that, with the Dortmund game, the Germany Super Cup. They've got a game in Singapore in 3 days' time against Chelsea, and then they meet Inter only 48 hours after that in the same venue, so no travel at least. Then back home for a double weekend fixture against Liverpool, and then either Atletico Madrid or Napoli. Coman got there, denied by Rodriguez. Rodriguez looking a good measure sharper than he did a couple of days ago, incidentally.
I like Rodriguez. I think he's been a good signing, a consistent performer. in Bundesliga last 2-3 seasons.
Lewandowski trying to creep around the back of Abate. Abate got the call. Donnarumma telling everybody else to focus, but maybe needing to do the same himself.
We forget he's still so young as well, 18 years of age. He doesn't look it, doesn't the way he carries himself. He's a seriously talented goalkeeper, which is why a clause was inserted in the contract. And I'm sure he's been very, very well paid after recent negotiations.
Had 3 or 4 stabs at clearing it, Milan, but didn't do a great job of that. That's more like it. And again, they press hard. Rafinha back. Rafinha presumably hoping to get more game time now that the great Philipp Lahm has departed the stage.
He's had to be patient, very, very patient. That's the issue. Clubs with the wealth of options that Carlo Ancelotti has at his disposal. Players, you only have to look at centre half, centre midfield. The luxury of being able to loan players like Douglas Costa out, not to have a player of that ability in your squad, just tells a lot about the strength that this Munich side have.
Here goes Rafinha. Koeman went over and got the free kick. What support Milan are getting here, amazing. And they're rising to it. Tolisso. Miscue by Hummels. Just that little bit of sloppiness in Bayern's play here, Keith, perhaps, today?
Yeah, very much so. And you only look at Tolisso on the ball now. Been very, very quiet so far.
There goes Rafinha trying to work with Koeman. A good run by the right back. He's got a lot of ground to make up here behind him, and Muller sees that. That's a bit short. Donnarumma very, very cool.
I think that little snapshot of Lewandowski proves that he's not quite at the races just yet. Clearly could have slid in for that, and I think if that was a competitive game, you want to see the goal there.
Interesting, because there were 1 or 2 little signs of that in the first game. Well, I don't think it would have gone in off Hummels, but Früchtel stretched out the arm anyway, and again Bayern just looking slightly off the pace here.
Yeah, they look all over the place at the back. Niang pulls the ball back into a good area. Hummels, and it was Catrone waiting for a tap in. Slightly fortunate, Niang. He puts a good ball in. You see Catrone, hands on his head.
Several players playing for their futures at Milan, like Niang, and it's showing. Koeman, Rafinha, Javi Martinez. What's your view? Martinez as a centre-back and Alaba in midfield, or the other way around as they've started here?
I have to be perfectly honest, I think they're both midfielders. I really do. I like seeing Alaba in the centre of midfield. You only have to look at how pivotal he is in an Austrian shirt when he has that maybe a little bit more responsibility. I think he really, really shines in there, but go back to it, his versatility at times, it stifles his performances in terms of getting that consistency in the same position. Martinez, with the amount of games that Bayern dominate, I don't think it's an issue him playing centre half, but when it comes up to the top teams in Europe, maybe with the top strikers, I think maybe he gets a little bit found out.
Competition in that area hotter than ever, of course, with the arrival of Niklas Süle and the imminent return of Boateng.
I think when you add Hummels into that equation, I think it'll be 2 from those 3. Certainly, as I've already mentioned, when you come up against the top opposition. But then midfield, you've got to throw Thiago, Vidal back into that equation. Competition places again. Fierce.
Tolisso. Tolisso's not arrived to be a backup either, has he? Here's Koeman, back to Tolisso. It wasn't a good ball by him. Martinez has the hit.
It's better by Munich. Starting to find those little pockets of space. Intricate passing. They've become accustomed to seeing from them. Comfortable wingers coming inside. Fullbacks providing the width. Rafinha and Bernat are doing this afternoon.
Slid forward by Hummels. Lewandowski. Thomas Muller slotted into his role, but the ball didn't go forward. It went to Koeman instead. Now Lewandowski running forward, and he's well stopped by Musacchio. Niang goes over.
Good reaction by Koeman. Niang again, proving a good outlet for Milan. I thought he really shone in a Watford shirt last year.
Hand-picked by Walter Mazzari, who knew him from Italy, of course. Borini can't believe he didn't get a free kick. Borini having a little dart on the right side here with Niang pulled out to the left by Montella. Montolivio. Rodriguez. Now Niang having a run against Rafinha and saying goodbye to him. Off he goes. And he's got past Hummels as well.
Well, he's got the bit between his teeth, hasn't he? The competition for place. He's clearly brought that confidence from his long spell at Watford into this pre-season. Leaves Rafinha for dead. Hummels comes over. I'm entirely sure there's a hell of a lot of contact. It's probably the momentum takes him down. Slightly fortunate to get the free kick, but again, looks very, very bright.
Montolivio bossing it, isn't he? You know, it's important to have him back out there. He just sets the tone for everybody around him.
He's a calming influence as well. He knows when to crank up the tempo of the game, when to go and press in midfield, when to maybe just sit in and use that experience that he undoubtedly has.
Very, very high line here by Bayern. Rodriguez, space to be exploited, and they did so, and they've conceded again. Crotone scores, and Milan lead 2-0 against Bayern Munich here in the Longan Stadium.
Well, you mentioned the high line, and we've seen this creeping in to football over the last couple of years or so. Teams trying to be that little bit more aggressive, trying to catch the opposition offside, but they're clever. Montolivo feigns the first one. A look at the Munich defence. Distorted line. Crotone produces a magnificent header. Rodriguez puts it on the money, and there's no stopping that header. Very confident header by the young man. Super.
The 19-year-old, that is a special, special moment for him. His first goal for the Milan first team. Look what it means. Don't think we foresaw this scoreline.
I certainly didn't. Not with the strength of the Munich starting 11. You just don't know what goes on in between the games, whether this is one that they may have penciled off in terms of we know that players will be fatigued. It's just a case of getting X amount of minutes under the belt, but certainly ideally you want the performance as well.
At Bayern Munich, Keith, only the best is good enough every single day.
Very much so, and that's why they are where they are in world football. The strength that they have in depth, the transfers.
Bernat, I hope he's not twisted something there.
Again, it's Kessie, isn't it? Putting them under severe pressure. Clearly, and a lot of stress, Bernat. So physios come on just to see exactly. I think it's his left ankle. Hopefully it's just a reaction maybe. But Kessie's been very, very impressive in this opening quarter.
Always well followed wherever they go, Bayern, by their own supporters. And Ancelotti might be reminding his players of that at half-time.
Well, he doesn't look happy. His players have been sloppy. You only have to look at the conceding from that set piece. They're basics that you can, it doesn't need to be in terms of fitness and sharpness to be able to deal with free kicks like that all over the place.
Now, we have had drinks breaks in a lot of these games so far. Looks like another one coming up here. Chance to review the goal, the opener, Keith.
Super play, wasn't it? Little give and go. Rodriguez pulls it back. A bit fortunate in terms of the deflection. But again, just the bearing out on the line. Could even possibly have done a little bit more to try and stop it going in. Milan players delighted. Rodriguez, it's a delightful ball, it really is. But look at the reaction of the Munich defenders. Catroni pulls off, only eyes for the ball, and it's a beautifully placed header.
Not the silkiest of Italian strikers we've ever seen, this youngster Cutrone, but the attitude is good, and he looks powerful. Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who has moved on from life in the Bundesliga to Milan. He started against Dortmund. Mercurial magician on his day. I'm not surprised he's left him out, Montella. This doesn't look good, however, for Bernat or for Bayern, does it? And this is the worst aspect of pre-season, of course.
Well, this is the risk, and certainly when we play such a short space of time, a fatigue. But on that occasion, I just think it was purely the pressure. And Kesse put him under. He knocked him a little bit off balance. It's clearly a twisted ankle.
Not saying it's an upside, but of course the consequence is always in these situations that maybe a young player gets an opportunity unexpectedly. And this time Marco Friedl will come on. Friedl did play some of the game against Arsenal. James Rodriguez is awaiting an invitation to come on, but I don't think this will be the moment. It will be Friedl. One from the Sabener Strasse Academy. He's actually an Austrian. Almost inquiring what exactly is going on. He's been so relaxed on this tour, Ancelotti, laughing and joking with everybody, playing the PR game brilliantly, but I don't think he'll be particularly happy right now.
No, I think you can tell he's clearly unhappy with what he's seen. His team haven't been at it. The sloppiness in the passing, the positional play. There's been no real oomph in terms of how they've gone about things. You have to give AC Milan huge credit. They've really stifled Munich. They haven't let them dictate proceedings in any way, shape or form. They've been aggressive in terms of how they've closed them down. Case in point, Niang, crucial to that. Kesse as well. Niang, as you've already mentioned, swapping sides with Barini, just showing that fluidity that they're trying to instill in their game.
Hummels. Easily cut out by Zapata. Not getting Lewandowski into it much either, are they?
Musacchio and Zapata have been superb. You only have to look opposite end of the pitch. Munich, back four, been very, very disjointed against a 19-year-old. You're talking about Lewandowski. He's been very, very quiet.
Hummels again. Gave it away twice in that little passage. Bonaventura. Now it looks as though they've switched Alaba out to left back, and young Friedl has come to play inside as a centre back, left-sided centre back.
That's the case in point we were making. Alaba again, so versatile, just allows Friedl to take that left-sided centre half spot.
That might have been why Hummels went over and started asking what was going on. Martinez. He too was caught in possession. Cannot get started here, Bayern. Tolisso gives it to Ribéry. Thomas Muller. Koeman to the right. Niang getting back into position quickly. On by Tolisso to Ribéry. Franck Ribéry. Muller could not quite get it out from under his feet to hit it.
Well, Ribéry's disappointed. He didn't get the return ball. It was a lovely little give and go. And Muller saying it maybe it got caught a little bit under his feet. Alaba produced the space to allow Ribéry to go inside. You just see here Muller can't quite. Milan bodies. Montolivo eventually scrambles it safe.
Just seems to make such a difference when they have Montolivo out there for Milan. Tolisso. Decent ball by him. Lewandowski got the room. Layoff by Muller. Lewandowski didn't hit it first time, did he? Goes left instead. Well, tried to go left instead. Borini it was back in there, working hard. Milan working hard. Hummels. In by Koeman. Little flick on by Abate, and there Borini again. Might have done a little bit better with it than concede the corner, but at least he was trying, Keith.
I think the shape and the attitude of the Milan team has been magnificent. Koeman swinging the ball in there, they were in really good positions. In the end, it's Borini. Gets it safe, possibly could have cleared it for a throw-in. But again, they look very, very comfortable, Milan.
Nothing doing on a corner again. One back by Tolisso. Martinez wins something. Rodriguez, of course, so well known to Bayern after his long spell in the Bundesliga with Wolfsburg. Encountered both sides of life in that club in the last 5 years. Champions League and Cup winners to relegation threatened. Virtual implosion financially. Rafinha over it, Alaba takes it, bit flat. Montolivo on duty again. Koeman has to stretch. Well, he's saying it was accidental. What's your view, Keith?
He's got a point, but he clearly makes contact. He just goes to scramble it back quite quickly, but Bonaventura epitomised exactly. He's trying to outstretch to get the ball. The ball's gone. It's clearly contact. They've had a lucky escape there. But again, the energy this Milan side have shown has been very, very impressive.
Harking back to that Montolivo injury, I was actually there at the game, and Montolivo, my Italian's not good enough, but I was told afterwards Montolivo looked up and said to the referee when he got injured, "That has cost me the World Cup." He knew straight away that he'd broken his leg.
It was very sad to see, it really was, especially so close to a World Cup. Never nice to see, but he has come back very, very strong, and as you've already mentioned, he's a key component of this Milan side, regardless of players that are coming in. Here we are, free kick, very similar position in which the goal was scored.
Now, will they just back off a yard or two, Bayern, having conceded? No, is the answer. Maybe slightly, maybe half a yard. Still a lot of room in there, and it's gone in the same area. Tolisso did well, and Koeman gets a free kick off Rodriguez. Why do they press up so high?
I don't believe in it, so I'm trying to work out exactly what the benefits are. Key players offside, but if there's a run from deep, there's just a vast area to go and hit. And also, Montolivo on both occasions over the free kick, he's gone as if he's going to put the free kick in first. Then what happens is the back four, the back five, whatever it ends up being, drops. Some of them drop, some of them don't. But clearly, not as well organised as they would normally have been.
Of course, they don't have Manny Neuer behind them at the moment. Alaba taking on Abate. Decent. Lewandowski. Coman went over. Good leap by Friedel. And a good stretch by Abate, the veteran right back. Nothing like the impact Ribéry had on the first game on this tour so far. In fairness, perhaps one of the differences, Keith, from Ribéry's point of view, he was up against young Ashley Maitland-Niles, not necessarily naturally used to playing at right back for Arsenal in the first half, compared to a man with so many years of Serie A experience in Abate. Bayern have a free kick on the edge of the box. Musacchio.
I think he knows. It was a clever little give and go. It's the first time we've really seen Müller, Lewandowski combine to any good effect. Clever position that Müller does pick up. Such a key part of what Munich do. He'll be disappointed with the season he had last season. I'm sure he'll be looking to get more game time. It's a fantastic opportunity for Munich.
Donnarumma's not had a save to make yet, has he? Lewandowski hasn't really had a chance or a goal threat yet, so he's looking like he wants to seize this moment. Alaba threatening to have a hit also. It is Lewandowski though, and it's straight to the middle of the wall. Müller had another swipe at it. Third time it comes through, but it's the wrong side of the post for Bayern.
Well, realistically, it was always going to be Lewandowski taking the free kick, regardless of Alaba's little jog on the spot. To replay the little give and go. Musacchio knows exactly what he's doing. Poor free kick into the wall. Montolivo as it comes back though. It's great reactions. Good controlled strike. And Donnarumma in all kinds of trouble.
Rodriguez helped on by Bonaventura, just be away from Montolivo. Lewandowski. Ribéry, oh, he couldn't go, didn't read it.
He just put the brakes on, hadn't he? To check back just for a simple pass. In that split second, Lewandowski released the pass.
Hummels charged onto it. Second touch by Alaba, and Abate happy to let it run out. There's the experience I was referring to.
I think he's such a clever defender, but also you've got to factor in the protection that he's been given. And it's been Niang, Kessie, in midfield, Montolivo at times coming over. Just cover those areas as Ribéry likes to drive inside. There's been constant traffic in there, so even when Abate's been faced up 1v1, he's always got protection within 10 to 15 yards.
Approaching 300 Serie A appearances, Abate. 8th season at Milan. Thomas Müller. Ribéry again. And still. What a black shirts for him to take on. He's weaved a path through them brilliantly, but Lewandowski couldn't finish it.
Well, that was just mercurial. The feet that he showed there, the quickness, the cleverness, and how close he kept the ball to him. Milan defenders know they can't dive in. Just stoked it up a notch, hasn't he, Ribery?
Rafinha made a run unseen by Alaba, goes left instead. Here's Ribery once more. Can't weave it through this time. Back by Tolisso to Martinez. Friedel across to Hummels. Well, it's nowhere near Mats Hummels' level, that. Here goes Niang. And Bayern are stretched again. Cotone. Niang, well played. On it goes here to Bonaventura. Brilliant goal. Milan lead 3. And Crotone's got his second.
Well, it all came from Mats Hummels. Terrible ball. Such a simple pass to find Rafinha. And Niang has been so bright, taking the game. What an impression this young man has made on the game. Super goal from the Milan point of view, and he skips past Rafinha. Nutmegs. Martinez, look at the space. It's way too much space. It's a clever little give and go. The first touch ball by Niang, Bonaventura, and again 4 jerseys. From a Munich point of view, it's just so easy. They've just looked on another level in this first half. Crotone heavily involved, did little give and go. Nobody picks him up, and Bonaventura puts the ball in. It's a relatively simple finish for the young man to get a second of the game.
Milan have come on this tour now under Chinese ownership to break new frontiers and win new friends, and this first half performance absolutely perfect in that respect. And dreamland for this young man. Bonaventura again. Crowd are absolutely loving it. And even now, Bayern look out of shape. Niang's ball in, deflected right into the hands of Friedel. Not blaming the goalkeeper particularly, Keith, for much of this carnage, but you know, when you're a young Bayern Munich keeper and you concede 3 goals in a half, well, that's a difficult one to wear, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so, and I think you're right. He probably couldn't do too much about it. I think it's what's gone on in front of him has been disappointing. The organisation at the back, granted they are missing a few key individuals, but this is a vastly experienced Munich side that have been very much exposed at times in this opening half.
Coman. Damage limitation here for Bayern. Stoppage time in the first half. Rafinha. Zapata. 3 stoppage minutes, so if those are weary legs or just a bit of sluggishness, no respite yet for Bayern. I suppose Milan just want to keep playing.
They've been sensational, haven't they? Abate. He just twisted ankle. Hopefully he's okay to continue. Ribery will be very, very frustrated. He showed a couple of glimpses, certainly in the latter stages. That trickery, those quick feet that he possesses. But Munich have been nowhere near the levels. Sure, we'll see the introduction of this man in the second half. Good signing.
James Rodriguez warming up like he means it. You don't need to warm up here, of course, but stretching like he means it. Little counsel with the medical staff. Montella apparently is a man who is meticulous about physical stats, he wants physiological reports on every player every 2 or 3 days, I understand.
I think that's very evident in what you're looking in this opening half. The team are clearly in very good shape. Just assume that maybe they might not be near in terms of their preparation. Hell, they've been in pre-season training in Munich, been back in longer. The season starts before Serie A season. but they've been a very potent force in this first half. Milan.
And Bayern, nothing like their real selves. One last chance here in the first half, perhaps, but that link between Müller and Lewandowski not working in this game for Bayern Munich. Almost unheard of this for Bayern Munich. They conceded 4 times, of course, against Real Madrid in that epic Champions League semi-final. They also conceded 3 against Borussia Dortmund late in the last season in the cup semi-final, but against Milan in one half in a pre-season friendly, nobody saw this coming. But they have conceded 3 more here, and Milan have stepped it up hugely from their opening performance in the International Champions Cup. Very impressive in front of their adoring new public here in China. And at half-time, time for a rethink here for Bayern. It's Bayern 0, Milan 3. Frank Ribéry and Mats Hummels making way, and Hummels hardly covering himself in glory in that first half. Top player though he is, didn't look like one in that first half, that has to be said. Looks as though young Andrea Conti is going to come on and play at right back for Milan here with Ignacio Abate. Abate got a bit of a knock in the first half, didn't he? And Conti has actually been chomping at the bit to get involved. One of the new signings, the 23-year-old defender. Confirmation that he is on, and Lucas Biglia takes his bow. Big signing from Lazio, the Argentine midfielder. So too Andre Silva. Crotone on a hat-trick, withdrawn by Montella. And the marquee signing up front for the new campaign, Milan, now give some game time to Andre Silva. Signed from Porto for a lot of money. Of course, was with Portugal at the FIFA Confederations Cup, so was given a few extra days off. Actually, not so long a holiday as many others, Keith. Back involved quite quickly, really.
I think you need to be very careful with that. I hear a lot about players coming back too soon, trying to get back into it. I'm sure that dangling of a card of going to the new club, just the eagerness to get involved, get to know your new teammates, management, make it those impressions. But it's a long, long season.
And the demands will be significant on Andre Silva. Well, let's face it, some of the greatest footballers ever have played up front for Milan. The main man up front, Lewandowski, frankly, looking nothing like his normal self for Bayern in that first half. Right down the spine of the team. No Manny Neuer, Mats Hummels not looking himself, and Lewandowski far from at his best. Very good impressions all around this Milan side. Here's the new man, Conti. Kessie threaded it forward again. Früchtel, who came on for Bernat in that first half. Früchtel played at left back against Arsenal, but when he came on today, Ancelotti moved Alaba to left back and asked Früchtel to play as a centre back. Conte.
Little tweak by Carlo Ancelotti at half-time. Martinez dropping back to centre half. Alongside Friedel. Alaba, again, that versatility left back. Kingsley Coman swaps over to the left-hand side to allow James Rodriguez pick up that right-hand berth.
Bonaventura.
Speculative effort. Bonaventura never really catches it quite right. A lot of pressure by Martinez.
Barini gives chase. Steered out by Früchtel to Alaba. Off the arm of Kessie. So energetic, isn't he? Gets across to people from midfield really quickly.
Really affects the game. He's a nuisance to play against. Closes down so quickly. Uses that strength and power, but then once he's in possession, he's so reliable.
Coolly done by Zapata, but he presented it. Bit too cool, really. Presented it to Lewandowski. Ran away from Lewandowski in the end.
Again, just an example of the lack of sharpness in the play. Good first touch, but Conte does well initially. Snuff it out.
Bilya sliding it forward. Andre Silva. That was as stern a face as I've seen all tour from Ancelotti.
He's normally a very relaxed figure, isn't he?
Cracking jokes and laughing at the press conference. Barini. Niang. Certain amount of getting to know you with Andre Silva. Bilya. Ready-made, but of course Bilya after an outstanding spell at Lazio. There'll be no surprises. It's just one big club for an even bigger club in the same league. A league he knows very, very well. I just wonder sometimes how much of a factor that is, you know, Keith.
I think so. I think it helps very much so. I would imagine he will slot into this Milan side seamlessly. Very responsible figure in front of the back four. Just holds his position, dictates proceedings, vastly experienced.
That's his ball left. Helped on its way by Bonaventura. Rodriguez tried to pick out Andre Silva with that. But they've started the second half like they did the first.
Just driving the game forward. Munich constantly on the back foot. Can't really get any type of zip into their game, any type of fluidity. It's a real struggle for them.
Well, it looked good, but he gave it away, Lewandowski.
Milan are in full control of this game, they really are. And so professional in how they've approached this game. The right type of intensity, taking the game to an undoubtedly talented Munich side.
Alaba went on. Coman surely was dragged back. Let's see what he can do down the left, as you pointed out, Keith. He's got Conte for company this side. Could be an interesting duel here in the second period. Tolisso. James Rodriguez. Alaba. Three in the box for Bayern, and he can't find any of them. Shoulders slumping there from Lewandowski. Recovered by Rafinha, and he's given it away. Rodriguez. Martinez. Rodriguez run off it. Risky ball really by Donnarumma, wasn't it? Conte couldn't do much with that. Bayern have it back. Coman going on the outside of Conte, and Zapata across his goalkeeper.
Well, Kingsley Coman had the opportunity only a couple of minutes ago to get at Conte. He neglected that one. On this occasion, he's very positive. Zapata taking absolutely no chances.
Zapata's international teammate Rodriguez taking it. Renato Sanchez. Renato Sanchez, the longer last season went, the less he made an impact on games for Bayern. Now would be a good moment to start this new season, I think, with them 3-0 down, but they're on the retreat again here. Barini into the path of Andre Silva.
I think he's too eager to get the shot off. Good break for Barini, good weight of pass. Could he have maybe took it a little bit more? Marco Friedl closed the angle down, but he did have options.
Got 16 goals for Porto last season. First time he'd really made his mark at the top table in European football. Thomas Müller taking on Rodriguez. Conte clear, Renato Sanchez down to Lewandowski. Alaba on the run. Off Bilia's head, no problem at all.
They're just lacking any real cutting edge. Munich, second phase of that attack, slightly better, a little bit of inventiveness. Lewandowski, the initial ball from Müller, just finding to fail that pass.
Tolisso. Rodriguez. Stopped by Zapata. Good friends, of course. 40,000 here, loving it. Except for that small contingent of travelling Bayern fans from Germany. Milan looking to build a massive new following in China under Chinese ownership, and they're certainly doing their part out on the field at the moment. Andre Silva. Martinez, eyes on the ball. Just a bit too strong. Müller to Rodriguez. Alaba and Coman made the space. Lewandowski filled it. Müller. Renato Sanchez.
He's got to be more positive there. James Rodriguez had picked up a lovely little position, drifted into that left channel. Renato Sanchez tried to be finding him.
James Rodriguez. Martinez to Früchtel. What noise this fan base here are giving for Milan. Alaba. Kingsley Coman trying to go around the outside of Conte. Surely it was out of play, and well seen by the assistant on the far side. That's not always the easiest call for an assistant, Keith, is it? Looking from that position, but he got that right.
A lot of bodies, posts in the way. Does really, really well. Coman drives at Conte. He just runs out of space. It was the correct decision.
And I only mention that because we've had some questionable officiating during this tournament so far, but spot on, well done. Renato Sanchez left trailing in the wake then. That's a fine recovery. Müller has the hit and Donnarumma turns it away. Comfortable save, really. There's a bit more purpose as they regathered the possession there by Bayern, and Müller had the hit.
More potency to the attack. Müller wraps his foot around it. It's a very comfortable save for Donnarumma, which you would expect him to make.
And it's the wrong side of the upright. Martinez went for it. They talk a lot about presence in goalkeepers, Keith, and this fellow, Donnarumma, he's only 18 years of age, but he just looks like he's a top goalkeeper when he's standing there without doing anything. And certain people do have that, don't they?
And he just carries himself with that level of authority and confidence. And it's staggering to think that he is only 18 years of age. He does remind me so much of Buffon in his early years, and I have no doubt it's one of his heroes. He will be the heir to the throne of the Italian national team, no mistake about it.
David Seaman was another man who had that, you know. He just stood there and he looked like, I'm the boss, I'm the goalkeeper at this football club, end of story.
Go back to your point about Renato Sanchez. There's been so much talk about this young man over the last 18 months, 24 months. Under 21 in the championships a couple of years ago. He went to the Euros last year with Portugal. The move hasn't gone to plan. I think Munich during the week have been speaking about it. If he isn't going to get enough game time, he will either move on loan, similar I presume to Douglas Costa, or potentially on a permanent transfer.
Well, where is his morale at the moment? You know, one of the stars of Euro 2016, in a winning team as Portugal finally won the major trophy they've craved for generations. 6 months later, he's back in the under-21s.
But I think that's a real test of him and where he's going to go to with his career, because it's not always plain sailing. He got things very, very quickly in his young career, and now it's a real test of how he can react to that. He has to keep focused. He has to keep going. Undoubtedly a talented player, but I don't think he's playing anywhere near the level of confidence that we've seen.
James Rodriguez trying to steer it forward to Alaba. Alaba trying to start to make things happen a little bit for Bayern. Cut off by Zapata. On the hour mark then. Still a long way for Bayern to clamber back. 3-0 down here in the Longgang Stadium. Taken by James Rodriguez. Belia clear. Free kick won by Barini. Big moment here. Leonardo Bonucci is about to come on, and so too Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Çalhanoğlu, of course, grabbed the headlines after his big transfer to Milan. He's already made his mark on the field for Milan. But every Milanese supporter watching all around the world, legions of them, enthused by the arrival of Bonucci, and he's about to step out onto the field for Milan for the first time.
That's a statement signing, Paul, isn't it? To be able to prize him from the champions of Italy. Such a magnificent, huge club, but clearly couldn't refuse the fee that was on offer. I think it'll be a massive signing for this Milan side and their huge evolution.
Alaba's cross. Which of the centre-backs is going to come off? They've both done well today, Musacchio and Zapata. Barini. Scurries about, doesn't he? Looking full of energy. But big players with big reputations don't come any bigger than this fellow. Bonucci is a Milan player. The headline-grabbing transfer in Italy of the summer. What a coup for Milan. Also coming on, Antonelli with Çalhanoğlu. Ricardo Rodriguez will make his way off. Done well today. Bedding in nicely, Rodriguez. And it is Zapata who passes the baton onto the one and only Leonardo Bonucci. Stand back, here comes the boss.
He's a top-notch player. Been a big admirer of him for a number of years. The way he carries himself, the pride in which he takes in defending. So often in recent years we've been accustomed to talking about defenders. Oh, they're great at bringing the ball out from defence. This fella takes real pride in how he defends and how he marshals his back four.
Barini's put everything in as he always does, and he makes way now for Çalhanoğlu. Another statement capture, really. All the top clubs were looking at this fellow during his spell in Germany. At Bayer Leverkusen, it went wrong for reasons nothing to do with football, and really not a lot to do with Çalhanoğlu, but that savage suspension that he was meted out, sitting it out for 6 months after transfer irregularities earlier in his career. Moving on to Milan. And my, how Leverkusen missed him when he got banned last season in the Bundesliga, Keith.
He's going to be a top player. I think you've hit the nail on the head. He has to find that consistency. The ambition of this football club now is to challenge Juventus, qualify for the Champions League and go on from there. He has to find a consistency. I think he's a very, very talented player, but too often he drifts in and out of games.
Feeds Andre Silva with his first touch. Niang. Well, he's been good, and he is right on his game at the moment. Niang felt he could steer that in the corner.
Just tries to open his left foot up, tries to find that top corner. Comfortable for Frugl, who's always in control of it.
Maybe one of the most pleasing things here for Montella at this moment in time is the way that Milan have kept at it here since half-time. It's one thing to really storm it for 45 minutes and score 3 goals, but all too easy perhaps pre-season to switch off. They've not done that.
Very much so. They've been as impressive. The goals and the chances haven't been there, but in general play, that hunger, that desire, I think it's Çalhanoğlu there, showing exactly what Tella would want.
Yeah.
Drifts in from the left-hand side, he's snapping at the heels.
Well, he's not
Thomas
known
Muller.
for that, you know, and if he's going to put his head down and work like that, proves the point, I think. At Leverkusen, mainly, he was the little magician, and others were expected to do the work for him.
I think with the array of talent you've got within this Milan side, I think the one thing that's going to be given, everyone's got to put that shift in. And there's a lot of superstars in the ranks now. If they want to get to where they are dreaming of going to, the hard work has got to be there, allied with the talent.
Bit spiteful that, frustration creeping in. Bonaventura didn't like it much. Struggled a bit today, hasn't he, Tolisso?
Very much so. Really looking forward to seeing him play. I think he's been a revelation at Lyon. His first cap for France against Spain in March. I think he will prove to be a very good signing, but he has been really struggling against this powerful Milan outfit.
Had another bite there, and they won it back, Bayern. Recovered by Tolisso. James Rodriguez couldn't trick his way through. Çalhanoğlu. Martinez, and snapping away. Everybody putting the effort in for Milan. Andre Silva that time. Renato Sanchez to Alaba. Friedel. Martinez. Well, that was Mats Hummels-like from the first half. 5-yard ball, couldn't get it right, Martinez. Rafinha just clapping his hands and trying to energise people around him for Bayern.
Just starting to see the tempo of the game maybe drop ever so slightly, understandably so, in these conditions. A lot of the players have played a lot of minutes.
Conte stepped out. Milan presented it back to Bayern. James Rodriguez. Çalhanoğlu. Another powerful run by Niang. Alaba's forced to come across and cover. Niang. Straight into the chest of Fruchtel.
Good break by Milan. Çalhanoğlu again. Been impressive since his introduction, and Niang just does not stop running. Kessie again trying to get up in support. Had the option to pass.
I was about to say, Keith, what seemed to me as a layman to be instructive there was that there were so many other Milan players prepared to push on the gas and get forward in support.
At 3-0 up as well.
Yeah. Renato Sanchez. Tolisso. They're used to strangling the life out of opposition, Bayern. They're getting plenty of ball, but they're not doing a lot with it here. And that link today between Lewandowski and Müller simply has not worked. Bonucci. Closed down by Lewandowski. Coman. Conte dived in a bit. He was caught and brushed off the ball, and in his haste to get back goal side, the young right back for Milan here just dived in a bit.
I think Coman, he has the opportunity to try and be a little bit more positive. He's trying to find the pass. It's clearly a bit of contact. They double up on him, don't they, Conte?
Yeah, but Biglia was doing the job for him, wasn't he? And perhaps a slightly wiser head would have known not to go for that.
Coman, he frustrates me at times. He has the opportunity, he has the pace, he has the trickery, but at times I just feel he takes that easier option, that square pass, and he has got such pace to worry opposition defenders.
20 minutes to go, and still Bayern looking for a goal. They've had a couple of testers for Donnarumma in this second half. Been a little bit better in that sense. Rodriguez takes it. Renato Sanchez. Tolisso. Renato Sanchez again. James Rodriguez coming round the back. Bit more like it from Bayern. Bit more positive by Renato Sanchez.
Very much so. Produced a really good ball. Good whip. And James Rodriguez read it. Tried to pull it back into a dangerous area.
Step over by Müller. Lewandowski. And they're on the score sheet at last. It's been a long, long time coming. Oh, no, not going to stand. So the heads go down again. Better movement by the Bayern players, but
that's more like Munich. They orchestrate it really well. It's all come from James Rodriguez. Works it unbelievably well to the right-hand side. That's a poor effort, isn't it? Should be hitting the target.
Really should. From where I sat, it was in, I thought. So time for drinks and refreshment. Time perhaps to regather Bayern for one final assault here to get on the score sheet. Rodriguez free kick, steered homeward by young Patrick Cotonnet brilliantly, and the second for Cotonnet before half-time, the third for Milan. Taken off on a hat-trick, Andre Silva on in the second half for Milan.
These latter stages of the games, poor managers, sports scientists, physios need to be really careful. It's that fine line of getting the players' fitness up there and getting them ready. There's also that risk of injury, fatigue, muscular injuries, that you want to bring it right to the line, but you need to listen to your players as well if they're feeling the pace of the game, the heat, the humidity. Getting into that danger area now.
Niang still moving well, so too Kessie. Martinez. Here comes Rafinha. Tried to get forward and make things happen a little bit for Bayern. Lewandowski. Musacchio it was who stepped up and did well. James Rodriguez. Alaba couldn't get there. Just a bit heavy, the ball, I think.
He's added another dimension though, hasn't he? James Rodriguez, he's the one looking to just create that little bit of spark, inventiveness, which they've severely lacked. He's waiting for the run. I think he means it for Alaba. I think he might have got there if Lewandowski hadn't have been there.
Now maybe for Bayern. Thomas Müller didn't want to hit it. The goalkeeper was on the floor for a moment or two, and still Bayern couldn't put it in the net. Didn't like the challenge on him much then, Lewandowski, and neither did the referee. Çalhanoğlu's just trying to really snap away at people here. Point you made, Keith, since he's come on. Here's the chance. Müller does all the most difficult things.
Well, he didn't want to take the shot on his left foot initially. Here, drags it inside. Good feet. He's got to try and get the shot off. Eventually, he's trying to find Kingsley Coman, but he's never on. Really not on. You're right, Çalhanoğlu. Again, showing that determination and aggression. Lewandowski not impressed.
All apologies now. Now Montella will empty the bench. We know it's something that he's particularly keen on, Keith, is actually not overburdening the players. The point you were making, you know, they do an awful lot of statistical analysis on the physical side of the game, the Milan backroom staff. So he's not taking any risks in that way, clearly.
换上29号帕莱塔。
Paletta, who started the game against Arsenal, will replace Musacchio. Gave a good impression, didn't he, Musacchio?
I think he's been top-notch, I really do. I think he's been a very astute signing. A consistent performer now for a number of years. Argentinian international, clearly happy with his performance today, and rightly so.
Gustavo Gomez for Niang. Might say the same about Niang.
He's in that position where he knows he has to impress in pre-season with the influx of signings and transfers, the money that's available at this football club now. He knows he has to make an impression.
And Frank Kessie is going to make his way off. Mauri comes on for Bonaventura. Mauri also started against Arsenal, and Big Brother's going to replace Little Brother here. Gianluigi Donnarumma off, and Antonio, who has just arrived from Asteras Tripoli, is going to get a run out in the first team. Still no breakthrough for Bayern. Alaba. Mauri involved right away. Wouldn't be surprised if he just sits on Rodriguez here for the last 10 or 12 minutes, Keith.
Well, Rodriguez has really affected the game, hasn't he? It's just popped up in those little pockets. Maybe we'll even see a little tweak in formation here. Montella, Gomez closing down. It's the second one that Lewandowski's took in the last couple of minutes. Not a lot in it, has to be said.
Gomez and Mauri, combative to say the least of it. Lewandowski, always rising.
Never going to trouble Donnarumma. He will very much have better days in a Munich shirt over the coming months.
Paletta sweeps it out. Çalhanoğlu. Antonelli. Bonucci. Back to him by Gomez. Paraguayan Gomez once more. Bonucci stepped in. Now, here goes Lewandowski. Bonucci has to cover the ground. Still Lewandowski. Gomez got back there to help. Renato Sanchez recovers it. James Rodriguez. A lot of height on that. Muller gives chase. On by Tolisso to Renato Sanchez. Bit short, he had to put his body in the way then. Did well really with Mauri. All too keen to snap in.
Did really well. Square pass off to Liso. Sanchez realised he was going to be closed down quickly, just gets his body in the way.
Rafinha. Coman going on the outside. All Bayern get is a corner.
Well, he's put in a shift, hasn't he, since he's come on.
Absolutely.
Stopping crosses, snapping at the heels of the opposition.
The words Çalhanoğlu and defending in the same sentence don't come naturally. Here's Bayern's corner, and it's flicked over the top of the bar. Martinez went for it.
Good delivery. James. Combination of Bonucci. Sousa. Just hasn't been Munich's day. There's been no real quality in the final third. They've been sluggish. And again, I go back to that could be an accumulation of the games, the training. Don't read too much into it from a Milan point of view. Been very, very impressed with them.
Alaba stepped up and they couldn't play forward as a result of that. Now Gomez. Chandler has his arm in the air. Can't give him space on the edge of the box. Loves to hit these. And he does! And that, in a nutshell, is what this boy is all about.
That's so naive from Munich's point of view. I should know what this lad is capable of. Gomez does so well initially to find them. The space he was allowed was ridiculous. It really was. He's been very good defensively, as we've already mentioned, since he's come on, but you cannot back off him like that. Poor defending, really was. Once he drives inside, there was no doubt he was going to hit the target. It's a fine finish.
Just has that ability, Keith, to ping the ball on that right foot, and it's like a laser into the corner. Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Bit like Lukaku for Manchester United, you know, getting on the score sheet. It's only pre-season, but once you've just had that little question removed, life gets that little bit easier, I think.
Very much so, especially that position that they play in. Those attacking areas, you're always judged. Goals, assists. It's very different from midfielders, defenders. And he's been superb since he's come on. His attitude has been absolutely impeccable.
Coman. Rodriguez trying to thread it through to Alaba. Gomez recovered well. Gets a round of applause from the boss, Bonucci. It's going to be like being at school, isn't it, for these Milan defenders now?
Honestly, he's an absolute warrior. Will prove to be, I have no doubt about it, a crucial signing to marshal the new recruits.
It was Bonucci's header. What about Lewandowski in this game?
He's been nowhere near it. The sharpness just has not been there. Çalhanoğlu, once he comes inside, he knows exactly what he wants to do with that ball. He has the composure. No red shirts near him. Tolisso, Rafinha, they just both back off. Of course, fatigue will be setting in now. Lewandowski has not been at it today. The sharpness. In the first half, he had 2-3 occasions where he could have got on the end of things. It just wasn't there.
I can't actually tell you the last time that Bayern Munich lost a game 4-0 to anybody, but it doesn't happen very often.
It's going to be very interesting to see what Carlo Ancelotti says after this, whether we'll put it down to the hectic schedule and the nature of pre-season that these type of results can happen, or whether he will be clearly unhappy, I imagine. But publicly, what's he going to say? What's he going to say about the players, their attitude today, where they are in terms of being ready for the start of the season?
Coman. Antonelli snapping back at him. Here's Calhanoglu again. He was looking for Andre Silva, who'd made a leftward run. Martinez to Renato Sanchez. Tolisso. Muller. Loads and loads of ball today, Keith, for Bayern. No complaints in that department.
When they've gotten to these areas, though, Paul, that ball of Tolisso out to Muller, granted we're getting into the dying stages of the game, there hasn't been enough numbers wanting to break a neck. You compare that to the energy in which Milan have showed today, it's been very much chalk and cheese.
Here's Mauri. Tolisso slid in on him. Andre Silva. Conte had made a run from the back to support energetically, did well. Mauri has a hit. Calhanoglu's looking across to him, arms open. That's my job, son.
I don't particularly blame him, but it opened up for Mauri, didn't it? Elects to take the shot on, fully 25 yards. It was never troubling Fruchtel.
It would be wrong, really, to apportion any of the blame to the rookie goalkeeper, would it not?
Yeah, very much so. I don't think he could have done anything about any of the goals. He's used the ball well at his feet. It's very much been what's gone on in front of him this afternoon.
Paletta. Calhanoglu comes again. Mauri forward again. Cut off this time by Friedel. These new Milan players in the spotlight here in every sense in the Longan Stadium and loving it. Calhanoglu denied by Martinez. Friedel. Left-footed Friedel. I don't think he's ever quite going to be as comfortable in possession as the departed Holger Badstuber, whose career at Bayern ended in the summer formally. He was released on loan last season, of course, but Badstuber, sadly his career blighted by serious injury. A couple of years ago, many people at Bayern said he's the best footballer in the whole squad. But all over now for him. Coman. Antonelli denies him. James Rodriguez takes it. Gomez flicked it clear with his head. Renato Sanchez. Martinez to Rafinha. James. Tolisso won't get there. He does look weary, doesn't he?
Yeah, very much so. He's put in a shift too often in that type of position that he plays. You know, when you're not quite at it as a partnership, as a three, whatever, how many's in there, the opposition have the upper hand. A lot of that running is to little avail.
Let's see if he can produce a good delivery here. Out as far as Alaba, Renato Sanchez. On by Rafinha. Time almost up. Coman. Easy for Bonucci. Milan win it back and come away with it. Sosa. Well, anything like a decent ball, and Conte had a free run in.
Disappointing, wasn't it? There's a lot of space to hit there. Again, Christian Fruchtel sweeping up very, very well alive to that counter-attack by Milan.
David Alaba. Rodriguez back to him. Can he produce a cross? Well, is there anybody to hit with a cross, more to the point? The answer, no. Has to come out again. Bayern finishing this game with lots and lots of ball, but very little clue what to do with it when they have it forward areas. I can't believe I'm actually saying that, but it's true, isn't it?
Staggering. And you can understand it a little bit last 15-20 minutes as fatigue really sets in. But it's been a running theme in both halves, in particular the first half, where they were very, very disappointing.
Over the top by Tolisso, over Paletta. May have been a little nick off Antonelli trying to head it. It's all academic, really. James Rodriguez looking to get them into a threatening position. Antonio Donnarumma clears it. Alaba. And that should see it through. And Milan have seen it through quite spectacularly here in the Longang Stadium. Legions of new supporters, Chinese owners looking on, surely very approvingly here, because the big money purchases have repaid a little bit of the faith, at least. Çalhanoğlu got himself on the score sheet. Bonucci made his bow as a Milan player, and most of the other big high-profile signings, big-name signings, have also produced good performances today. And man for man, they have outshone mighty Bayern Munich in a major way here. It's all pre-season, we know that, but they have to start building somewhere, and this has been a very, very positive